34F. Really messed up. Like royally ruined my entire life in one stupid moment. It started last Friday when husband, 36M, and I hosted a dinner party for our friend group, 6 couples we've known for years. The evening was going great, good food, plenty of wine, lots of laughs. After dinner, we were all sitting around in the living room when the overhead light started flickering. Husband got up to fix it, and I don't know what possessed me, but I blurted out, "Don't bother everyone. He can't even change a light bulb properly." I followed it with a dramatic eye roll and added, "I swear he's completely useless around the house. I have to do everything or call someone." Everyone laughed. Everyone except husband, who just quietly sat back down without saying a word. The conversation moved on, and I didn't think much of it until I noticed husband was completely silent for the rest of the night. After our friends left, I asked if something was wrong. He just looked at me with this empty expression and said, "Do you really think so little of me?" Then he went to the guest room and locked the door. I figured he was being dramatic and he'd get over it by morning. But he didn't come to bed the next day either, or the next. He was civil but distant. When I tried to talk to him, he just said he needed space to think. This morning, 3 days after the dinner, I came home from work to find divorce papers on the kitchen counter. I was in complete shock. I frantically called him, but it went straight to voicemail. I texted all our friends to see if anyone had heard from him. Not only had no one seen him, but several of them responded with variations of, "I think you should leave me out of this," or just flat out didn't respond. I finally got hold of our friend Jake, who reluctantly told me husband had sent everyone in our friend group a long email yesterday. Jake wouldn't tell me exactly what it said, just that it put things in perspective and that maybe I should reflect on how I've been treating him. I'm sitting here completely blindsided. Yes, I made a stupid joke, but divorce? And now all our friends are ghosting me. What the hell could you tell them? That was so bad. I called his parents, but they won't pick up either. I'm starting to panic. What did I do? Update 1, 3 days later. I finally know what husband told our friends, and I'm honestly still processing it. First, I need to thank the few people who DM'd me, suggesting I look back at my behavior pattern. You were right. The joke at the dinner party wasn't a one-time thing. I've been putting husband down for years. I just didn't realize how often I did it or how it came across. Yesterday, husband finally agreed to meet me at a coffee shop. He brought a USB drive with him. He said, "I've been documenting things for a while. I wanted to show you before I showed anyone else, but after Friday night, I just couldn't take it anymore." The drive contained dozens of audio clips from dinner parties, gatherings with friends, phone calls with my family that he was present for. All recordings of me belittling him, calling him useless, incompetent, saying I basically have to parent him, joking about how he can't do basic tasks. In some clips, you could hear our friends laughing uncomfortably. There are also screenshots of texts where I complained about him to friends, emails where I CC'd him on correspondence with contractors/repairmen with phrases like, "Since my husband doesn't know how to handle this," or "My husband would probably mess this up." But the worst part? The recordings weren't just from the past few months. They went back years, and hearing them all back to back was devastating. I sounded like such a mean, condescending person. Husband told me he started documenting everything about 2 years ago when he realized how much my comments were affecting his mental health. He brought it up a few times over the years, but I always dismissed it as him being too sensitive. I asked why he never seriously confronted me before deciding to divorce me. He said he tried many times, but I always turned it around on him or made him feel like he was overreacting. He said the dinner party was just the final straw, hearing all our friends laugh at him while I humiliated him in our own home. The email he sent our friends included just a few select clips and screenshots, enough to explain his side. He didn't even trash me in the message. He just said he couldn't be in the relationship anymore and wanted them to understand why. I've spent the last 24 hours listening to these recordings over and over, and I feel sick. I had no idea I was this person. The worst part is I can't even defend myself because it's all there in my own voice. I asked if we could try therapy. He said he's been in individual therapy for a year already, which I didn't even know, and his therapist has been encouraging him to set boundaries with me. He said he's too drained to try couples counseling now. He's staying with his brother for the foreseeable future. The divorce papers are still on the counter. I haven't signed them yet. I don't know what to do. I'm the villain in this story, and I didn't even realize it. Update 2, 2 weeks later. Things have gotten worse, if that's even possible. I finally gathered the courage to reach out to some of our friends individually. I wanted to apologize for my behavior and try to salvage those friendships at least. Most didn't respond, but 3 did agree to meet me. What I learned from those conversations shook me to my core. Apparently, husband has been carrying our entire friend group for years. He's the one who remembers everyone's birthdays, organizes help when someone moves, drives people to the airport at ungodly hours, and checks in when someone's going through a rough patch. All while I was portraying him as this incompetent man-child. Our friend Lisa told me husband had driven her to chemotherapy appointments every week for 3 months last year when she was diagnosed with breast cancer. He took time off work to do this and never mentioned it. Not to get credit, but because that's what friends do. I had no idea. I knew he was working from home more often during that period, but he told me it was for a special project. Tom revealed that husband had been helping him study for his contractor's license for the past year. Those useless home improvement skills I mocked? Husband had been using them to teach Tom everything he needed to know to pass his exams. And when Melissa's mom died suddenly, husband apparently drove 4 hours to help clear out her apartment because Melissa couldn't bear to do it alone. He took 3 days off work. I thought he was at a conference. The most crushing part? When I asked why none of them ever defended him when I made those jokes, they all said variations of the same thing. They had tried multiple times, but I always laughed it off or doubled down. Eventually, they stopped saying anything to avoid making scenes, but they all felt uncomfortable. I'm completely devastated. Not only have I been emotionally abusing my husband for years, but I've been doing it while he was secretly being a far better human than I could ever hope to be. I spoke with husband again yesterday. I told him everything I'd learned and apologized profusely. I begged for another chance and promised to get therapy, to change, to make amends. He listened calmly, then said something that broke my heart all over again. I don't think you're a bad person. I think you got comfortable seeing me a certain way, and it became your truth, even though it wasn't the truth. But I can't be with someone who fundamentally doesn't respect me. He said he's proceeding with a divorce. He doesn't want to drag it out or get nasty. He's offering a fair settlement. He just wants to move on. I signed the papers today. Our friends have made their choice clear too. They're standing with husband. I don't blame them. I'm looking for a new place to live. I start therapy next week. I've lost everything, and I have no one to blame but myself. Final update, 6 months later. It's been 6 months since my world imploded, and I'm finally ready to share what I've learned. The divorce was finalized 3 months ago. It was as amicable as a divorce can be. Husband was fair with the asset division, even though I now know he could have taken me to the cleaners if he'd wanted to. I moved into a small apartment across town. I've been in intensive therapy twice a week since my last update. The first 2 months were brutal. Facing your own toxic behavior isn't easy. My therapist helped me see that my treatment of husband stemmed from my own deep insecurities and the dysfunctional relationship I witnessed between my parents growing up. It doesn't excuse what I did, but understanding the why has been crucial to ensuring I never repeat those patterns. I haven't tried to contact husband or our former friends. I'm giving them the space they deserve. However, I did send each of them a handwritten letter a few months ago, not asking for forgiveness or rekindling relationships, just taking full accountability and wishing them well. To my surprise, 2 friends have cautiously reached out since then. We've had coffee a couple of times. They say they've seen genuine change in how I talk about myself and others. Small victories. As for husband, I heard through the grapevine that he's doing well. He got a promotion at work and has apparently started dating someone new. The news stung, but I'm genuinely happy for him. He deserves every happiness. The hardest lesson I've had to learn is that sometimes, when you break something badly enough, you don't get to be the one who fixes it. The best you can do is make sure you never break anything or anyone that way again. I'm not sharing this for sympathy or validation. I'm sharing because if anyone sees themselves in my behavior, please take this as your wake-up call. Don't wait until it's too late to realize what you're doing to someone you claim to love. I lost an incredible partner and treasured friendships because I was too blind to see my own cruelty. All I can do now is work on becoming someone who would never make those mistakes again. For those who followed this terrible journey of mine, thank you for the tough love and perspective. Sometimes the hardest truths come from strangers on the internet. And if by some miracle husband ever reads this, I'm sorry. You were never the weak one. It was me all along.